Sing me a song of a lass that is gone. Say, could that lass be I?
Welcome back, everybody. I am so sorry that it has been so long, but I got a job. Yay! Let's see if you can guess where it is. Hey, I got a job at Legoland, and I absolutely love it there. But yeah, all of my time and my energy has just been going to my job. But yeah, these days I got some days off, so I thought that I would make my tier list for season 2. Uh, it is the same rules as last time. It is my opinion only, and you can agree or disagree with me as you like. I am only going off the show here. I am not including or comparing the books at all. And I will, of course, also be talking about the plot in the episode as I rank them. See if you can remember what the letters stands for. A, amazing, E.G., extremely good, G for good, and F for forgettable, not failure, because the show, I believe, hasn't actually failed. So, episode 1, we start out with Claire back in her own time. I remember as a first time viewer and a non book reader back then, I remember this was very confusing to me because we wanted to be with Jamie and stay with Jamie. What is she doing here? And also very frustrating, of course. But anyway, we are spending the first half of the episode with Claire and Frank back in 1948. They are wondering, where do they go from here as a couple? Does Frank stay? Does he leave? What are Claire's plans either way? In general, where do we go from here now that Claire is back? I think that Katrina and Tobias, they do an incredible job here. They're bringing up all the emotions and feelings of how two people they would actually react if this was a real thing. Some stellar acting from these two actors here. But then half into the episode, we switch over to 1744, where we have Jamie, Claire, and Myrta arriving in France. We last left off with them, Jamie learning that Claire is pregnant, and him mentally recovering from the trauma from last season with Blackjack Randall. Let's just not talk about those episodes, shall we? So, moving on. During an almost outbreak of smallpox down at the docks, we meet one of the main antagonists of this season, Count Saint-Germain. And he will, as we will learn later on, become a very nasty piece of cake. Yeah. It is a very strong start to the season. A lot of stuff is happening here, and it all does a great job setting up the rest of the season. And for that, I will put it in EG. My favorite part of the episode is actually the stuff that is happening in 1948. Of course, I prefer watching Jamie and Claire together, don't get me wrong, but in this episode, I just feel like the scenes that are happening in 1948 are much stronger than in 1744, and it is some of Tobias's best work on this show. Yeah. But moving on to episode 2. Claire and Jamie's purpose in Paris is, of course, to try and stop the Battle of Culloden, which all starts with Charles Stuart, the Bonnie Prince. And Charles, he needs money for an army, and they've been told those will come from the French king. Claire has met and befriended a French noblewoman, Louise, whom she asks if she can get them an invitation for the French court so they can meet the king. And Louise, of course, says no problem. After Jamie's whole ordeal with Jack Randall, Claire, she has been trying to encourage him to wanting to go back to bed with her through different types of, sexual teasing. And one of these attempts is by wearing the most iconic dress of the whole season, and that is, of course, the famous red dress. This scene is one of my all time favorite scenes in the entire show. I love how she just stands there, alright, let's go, and Jamie's jaw on the floor, like, oh my god, and the humor in it, and I really love the scene. I know that it's not everyone's favorite dress or piece of clothing for Claire, but I really love this red dress. Red is my favorite color, and I think that it is flattering on her and it is sexy on her, and as I said, I love Jamie's reaction to it. We then get to the party at the French court, and here we meet the Minister of Finances. Because they want, of course, to stop Charles getting money, they start out by wanting to talk to the minister. Unfortunately, before they get the chance, Louise tells the minister that Claire, the woman in the red dress, wants to hook up with him. And thus, while Claire she is outside taking some fresh air, the minister decides to make a move on her. This scene here I find a bit funny because of how he tries to seduce her by kissing her feet. Of course, I don't agree with unwanted sexual advantages, but this scene is funny. And the way it ends with Jamie pushing the minister out of the bridge and into the water before Claire can stop him is it's the best kind of humor for the show. It is all, of course, a big misunderstanding, so Jamie apologizes for throwing him into the water, and the minister apologizes for making a move on Claire. The episode ends with Myrtha and Claire spotting the biggest traitor, the Duke of Sandringham. You see, he had said to Jamie that he would have delivered a pardoning to the ones who can make him a free man, but instead he gave it to Blackjack Randall, which ultimately resulted in Jamie's torturous night. Yeah, so the whole thing is on the Duke's head. Jamie is away in audience with the king, so it is only Claire and Myrtha who sees him, and then they get told that Blackjack is still alive. He did not die from the cow attack, I guess you can call it. Claire then is in conflict of what to do now with this new information, because she is afraid that if she tells Jamie, then he will go back home to Scotland and then he will get captured and executed. At least that is her fear. I will rank this episode here on the G list, on the G section, because I don't find it completely forgettable, with scenes such as the red dress scene, the minister approaching Claire scene, and finding out that Blackjack is alive scene. But other than that, not much is happening in this episode. Episode 3. In this episode, we meet two very important characters. We meet Mother Hildegard and Fergus! Yay! Fergus, we love him. Claire, she is starting to get bored in Paris, so she decides to volunteer at a local hospital, which is run by nuns. And this is where we meet Mother Hildegard for the first time. She is the head nun of the hospital and also works as a nurse kind of figure. Later in the episode, we meet Fergus for the first time. I don't need to sit here and tell you his backstory or how important his character will become later in the entire story, because you already know. But yeah, so as I told you, this is the episode where we first meet him. What else happens in this episode is that Claire and Jamie are disagreeing on whether Claire should be at the hospital around sick people while she's pregnant or not. Jamie doesn't want Claire to do it, but she is trying to tell him that she is only treating superficial cuts and wounds, and that she won't go near anything that would hurt the baby. He still doesn't like it though, her doing it, because he doesn't see the point in risking anything. Fergus, he has of course been stealing letters from all the important political figures for Jamie and Myrta to read before sending them on their way again. And in one of these letters, they find a piece of music, which they don't understand why this person would send random music to Charles. At least I think it's Charles. Anyway, so they go to Mother Hildegard, who is also a person who knows how to read music notes. They decipher the letter and find out it's a letter from Sandringham, because there's a music note that is strange placed, Mother Hildegard tells him, and that would be the letter S, and S stands for Sandringham. Da da da! So, yeah, this wouldn't have been possible without Claire going to the hospital in the first place and getting to know Mother Hildegard. And so Jamie, of course, apologizes for being kind of a dickhead here. And the whole episode ends with Myrta giving Claire a "you should tell him about Black Jack" kind of look, because Jamie still doesn't know. What do I think of the episode? Well, except for Fergus's introduction, it's kind of boring. I don't like watching Claire and Jamie arguing or disagreeing too much, and not a lot of action really happens, so that is why I am going to put it in F for forgettable. Episode 4, we start out with Jamie and Claire being at a chess game, where Claire gets poisoned. The Count Saint-Germain is there watching it unfold, which is a big indicator that it's his doing. Claire recovers without it having hurting the baby, thankfully, and she reveals that evening to Jamie that Black Jack is still alive. Jamie responds surprisingly happy about this news because, well, now he gets the chance to kill him himself when the right time comes. Thankfully, he doesn't react the way Claire was fearing, him running back to Scotland at the first boat that takes off. No, he is staying put where he is and, waiting for the right time to come. A bit later, Jamie comes home from a night out and is very much in the mood for some sexy time with Claire for the first time since that night. Claire, though, she discovers bite marks on his inner thighs, and of course they begin arguing over what has happened between Jamie and this other woman. Jamie says that nothing happened, and he stopped her before she got any closer. If you ask me, she still got too close. Claire is mostly angry over him feeling the lust with another woman, not that he actually was with another one, for the first time in months, while she has been trying everything she could to help him move on sexually. This scene then ends with him sleeping somewhere else. And then we get to another one of my absolute favorite scenes, probably my favorite sex scene in this show. And that is, I call it the blue sex scene. It is romantic, it is sad in a way, you feel relief, you feel happiness, you feel love, all of these emotions is in one intimate scene, and I just find it extremely beautiful. I love this scene. We then get interrupted, unfortunately, because Jamie and Claire was having a cute moment together by Charles Stewart climbing on their roof because he had escaped from his lover's house because her husband came home early or something like that. And this lover, we find out, is actually Louise. Huh. And after this discovery, Jamie and Claire decide to host a dinner party to explore Charles's broken heart. Yeah, Jamie and Claire aren't that great people in this season. I mean, they do what they must to stop the battle, so I get it. But anyway, We then have the day of the dinner party, and during the day, Claire and Mary Hawkins, whom we met in a previous episode, and is also Frank's ancestor, are working at the hospital. As they are about to leave, unfortunately, their carriage is broken. They decide to walk home despite being late for the dinner party, and on the way, they get violently attacked, and Mary, she gets sexually assaulted. So, arriving home after the attack, Jamie and Claire, they get Mary into bed, where Blackjack's brother, Alex Randall, he takes care of her while she sleeps. Claire then gets down to the dinner party where all the guests are waiting for her. Charles Stewart, Louise, and her husband, the Duke of Sandringham, and many other people are all there. And the point of this dinner, as I was hinting at before, is to reveal Louise's pregnancy by Charles. She's pregnant by Charles's baby in front of him and everyone else, and hoping that, as Jamie puts it, we use his broken heart to break his bank. There is indeed an outbreak during this dinner, but it is not a heartbroken Charlie. It is Mary Hawkins screaming for help because she thinks Alex is trying to hurt her, when he's actually really trying to help her and calm her down. And the episode then ends with several men at the dinner party getting arrested, including Jamie. I will put this episode at the very top of G, because I don't find it forgettable, and the reason why it is right on the edge to become an EG, it is very much on the edge, is simply because of the blue sex scene. Other than that, it is a good episode that gets the plot along very well. Episode 5. Jamie, he gets home from the prison because he was, of course, innocent, and starts talking to Claire about the attack. Claire mentions that the men ran away after they thought Claire was La Dame Blanche, meaning a white witch. Jamie informs her that it was actually him who started that piece of gossip, so he would be free of whores without seeming unmanly. Claire's not too excited about this news, but they laugh it off as they go to bed. The next day, Jamie and Myrta talk about who might be behind the attack. The Count Saint-Germain is, of course, the prime suspect. And then we get the most awesome line from Myrta. I will lay just vengeance at your feet or be damned. Like, oh, I love Myrta. He is so cool. We then get to a talk between Jamie and Charles. Here, we learn that Charles has secured himself £10,000 by going into business with the Count Saint-Germain. These £10,000 are, unfortunately, enough to get provisions that will show the French king and his investors that Charles's army and his cause is worth investing in. This is, of course, not good news. What do we do now? But after this, we get to a very romantic and sweet scene, and that is the baby spoons scene. So while relaxing on a couch in front of a warm fire, Jamie surprises Claire with a christening gift that Jenny has sent over from Scotland. It is a box of 12 baby apostle spoons. Claire is very much touched by this, and she starts to talk about how she feels nervous about becoming a mother and a good mother. Jamie, he's being his sweet and romantic self, says that of course she will be a great mother and that they will be there for each other, and she's not alone in raising the kid. Jamie will be there too, and all of this. So yeah, I love this scene. Very cute. And in the next scene, we are at the royal stables, which is a whole event with all the nobles and royals walking around admiring and purchasing horses. And we have these big, beautiful dresses on all the women, and the men are wearing their finest clothes. It's a whole big event. Now, about costumes. This costume worn by Katrina here is my absolute favorite in the entire show. I like it even more than her wedding dress. The big hat with flowers on it, the yellow gloves, and that absolutely beautiful brown dress with the flower pattern on it. I mean, it's just an incredible look, and I know it's not historically accurate, but for once, and I am often a big speaker for historical accuracy, but for once, I don't really care. It is absolutely gorgeous and I adore it. But anyway, at this event, we get reunited with none other than Blackjack. Claire, she interacts with him first before the king, and then Jamie arrives. It is a very intense scene with Claire containing her anger, Jamie seeming disturbingly calm, and the king acting strangely cheerful and jokingly, and pulls on a weird joke on Jack, making him bow down to his knees even though he's clearly still recovering from those cows in the first season. The satisfaction to see Blackjack getting mocked like this is the best, and I love seeing it. After they are dismissed by the king, Jamie and Jack arrange for a duel to happen, even though it is illegal. In the evening, we get yet another intense scene, and this time it is between Jamie and Claire. Claire tells Jamie that he can't kill Blackjack, not yet anyway, because she thinks that he is supposed to sire Mary's baby, so that Frank will exist in the future. This is, of course, a very hard thing for Jamie to accept, but he does it, and he agrees to let Blackjack Randall live for just one more year, and not one day more. This scene is so well acted, and the emotions on display here are felt very easily, especially the heartbroken emotions on Jamie's face. I mean, Sam, he's just doing an incredible job here. Now the question is, where do I put it on the list? I will put it in EG. I think it's better than the first one, with Blackjack coming back, and the intense scene between Jamie and Claire at the end, and the sweet scene with the baby spoons and Meredith wearing vengeance, and of course, the beautiful dress. The fashion in this season overall is just amazing, and I really like this episode. I do. Episode 6, we start out the episode mostly just hanging out with Claire at the hospital and visiting another one of Claire's new friends here in Paris, Master Raymond, who is I don't know how to pronounce that, so I'm just gonna call him a healer. Before cutting to the evening with Jamie and Claire. They're having a nice relaxing evening, enjoying each other's company, Jamie rubbing Claire's feet, and they're just being romantic. That is, until Jamie starts talking about why he agreed to keep Blackjack alive for another year. It wasn't because of Frank, well, kind of, but not exactly. It was because he wanted to make sure that there would be a place for Claire to go in case that he needs to send her back during the war. And then we get a most heartbreaking scene. Jamie makes Claire promise that if anything should happen to him, that she will go back through the stones and go back to Frank. My reaction to this scene the first time, because after having watched the first episode, we know what is going to happen, that she will go back. And every time since then, when I rewatch this, I just go, no, 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 don't promise, no, no. But no matter what, the outcome is, of course, always the same. And she does indeed promise. Why, Claire? Why? I mean, I get why, but no. No. I love the emotions in this scene. Jamie getting teary eyes and going down, hugging her around the baby bump. And Claire's face saying everything for her, that she doesn't like the promise she just made. And maybe having to leave him and everything, because that is the last thing she wants to do. But later in the episode, we have Jamie and Claire agreeing to finally tell Myrta that Claire is actually from the future. And can I just say, I adore his reaction to this by punching Jamie in the face for not being honest with him and trusting him from the beginning with this information. I just love Myrta. He's awesome. And then there's the whole smallpox scheme that they are doing, that I don't feel like going all into it. It's a part of the story, of course, but nothing really important comes out of that, I think, at least not as far as I remember. We then get to another late night evening scene with Claire and Jamie fondling over the baby bump. Jamie feels a kick for the first time. Yay! And then he talks so sweetly to the bump and says he can't wait to meet him or her. Sadly, though, for him and Claire, they never really will meet the baby. Of course, I didn't know this the first time watching this, but I remember I felt a bit uneasy watching this scene. It just seemed too sweet and perfect for Outlander for this actually to come true. I mean, something bad got to happen because it's Outlander. And this is just too happy family for the show. So, yeah, I felt uneasy. But by the end of the episode, oh gosh, here we go. By the end of the episode, Claire being very tired after working hard at the hospital all day long, she arrives home and finds out that Jamie has gone out to the woods to duel Blackjack Randall. She then runs out to stop him, or in the carriage, you know what I mean, feeling betrayed and confused on why he broke his promise to spare Jack for a year. While out there, the men, they get arrested and Claire falls to the ground in pain and bleeding. And this is where we end the episode. It's a very intense ending, and I remember waiting for the next episode the following week. It was not a fun wait, let me just say that. But where do I put it? Well, I will put it in the G section, because it's not completely forgettable, with the sweet scenes and that nail-biting ending, but that is all that I remember from this episode, so that is why it's in the G section. Oh gosh, episode 7, here we go, people. Episode 7 is at the same time my favorite and least favorite of all time. This episode is, of course, the miscarriage episode. It is heartbreaking, it's sad, it's emotional, and a little bit weird, I think, too. The reason why I find it a little weird is because of the part with the king. because in order to get Jamie out of jail, Claire is ordered to help the king find a sorcerer. The choices are between the Comte Saint-Germain, whom, by the way, is revealed to indeed be the one who poisoned her while she was pregnant, and Master Raymond is the other one. It is a bit of a bizarre request in order for the king to let someone out of prison, but Claire, she does it, and it ends with, after Master Raymond put a deadly poison in a cup with some of Claire's herbs in it, Saint-Germain dies and Master Raymond gets released. She of course also has to sleep with the king, because he's the king. That's just what they did back then. But the whole reason why she decides to go to the king in the first place is actually not because she really wanted Jamie back after feeling betrayed, at least not, straight away. It is because Fergus confesses that he had gotten, oh god, how many times have I said the word sexually assaulted in this video? It's crazy. But anyway, Fergus, he had gotten sexually assaulted by Blackjack, and Jamie, he saw this, and that is why Jamie, he wanted to duel him, to kill him straight away. Claire, she then gets sympathy towards why Jamie broke his promise, and that is why she decides to try and get him out. Jamie then gets out of jail, and they start to talk about what exactly happened, and their feelings and so on. I find it too heartbreaking to talk about and go through the whole thing now. So I'm just gonna leave it here by saying how much I absolutely love the acting in this episode. It is one of Katrina's very, very most outstanding performances in the entire show. And you just feel the pain with her and Sam as you watch those scenes take place. I am obviously going to put this at amazing, the very top. I think this is the best all-over episode of this season and one of two main highlights. But I will get to the other one a little bit later.
Sing